Our headliner tonight is Dr. Jane Yip. She is the founder and director of Autism Parent Care LLC, where applied behavior analysis therapy is combined with field testing in the natural environment, and brain mapping technology for visualization of progress. She is a visiting professor of speech, language, and hearing sciences at Purdue University. Additionally, she is the founder and director of Indiana Brain Mapping, a non-governmental organization of United Nations for Disabilities' Rights.
The title of my talk today is What is Evil? A philosophical, scientific, and sociological perspective. My name is Jane Yip. I'm a neuroscientist and a board-certified behavior analyst. I'm the founder of Indiana Brain Mapping and Autism Parent Care. So let's look into this term called evil. When this word is mentioned, it brings up the images of people behaving badly, man's inhumanity to man. However, the concept of evil is not taught in grade school, nor it mentioned in higher centers of education. In fact, this word is a taboo. At best, it generates argument back and forth. The Merriam Dictionary defined it as reprehensible and named slavery as an example. Whether or not evil exists, the world of science is not much of a help. The field of literature expresses it more eloquently. And I'm going to give you an example, a poem by Percy Shelley on slavery. Oops. We know what slavery is. It is to work and have such pay as just to keep life from day to day. For the tyrants used to dwell as to the rich man in his riot, delights in taking it all. More than hunger in your diet is to hold no control over your own will, but be what others made of ye. This is to be a slave in your soul. On oppression. And what did they steal? Was it money? Not always. They stole power from the little people to make themselves look grand. They lay waste the emotional well-being of those they are supposed to love and protect from the dignity of man. From Hitler's concentration camp to Stalin's reign of terror, evil is registered as a word in the history pages. The question is, does it still exist in modern days? Let's look at this list and you tell me. Tyranny of citizens by threats and covert manipulation. Corruption in governmental and financial institutions. Social inequalities putting millions of people in atrocious living conditions. Needless war, both in the private and public spheres, putting humanity at risk with the nuclear arms race, plundering the earth's resources without regard for the consequence to the environment and future generations. Would you call it evil? Or would you see it as a value judgment and ignore all these occurrences as a matter of interpretation or political party viewpoints? I don't know about you. The footprints of this word called evil exist for me. It motivates me to question whether evil is rampant in the world. For those who prefers not to call it by that name and instead see it as good, waiting to be seen by the light of day, I am with you also. As a behaviorist, I would like to define what the behavior looks like. Refusal to pay attention to or act on the interests and welfare of others. Punishing others when frustrated, it can take extreme form, including homicide, intentionally inflicting suffering and enjoying it, not allowing others to express their opinions, avoiding personal responsibility, blaming other people, and when confronted, playing the victim, using deceitful methods, lying, gaslighting, hiding the truth, playing Jekyll and Hyde, ignore fair play, taking unfair advantage of others, and acting in a covert way. And most of all, being self-centered. It's all about me. Having a need to dominate, insisting on winning at all costs. The result is clear. The victims are traumatized. So the next question is, origin of evil. We do not know if this behavior is a choice, a free will that can be changed at a moment's notice, or is it a product of the environment, or a stroke of nature's misfiring in the brain. Perhaps it's a combination of various factors. Research has shown that lack of love in childhood, trauma, both physical and emotional, can give rise to maladaptive behaviors. And mental illness. We don't know how much of mental illness can spill over into what we call deviant or harmful behavior to others. Example, as in the case of the pedophiles. As for the environment, unfortunately, film, books, video games, and media condones scenes of violence, sometimes even worship them. And increasingly, we see poor role modeling in the family as well as in the society. And the last point, which is relevant to the field of behavior analysis, self-centeredness is rewarded in the family and in society. So, I want to talk about mental illness. And certain diseases can result in a lack of connection in the brain. One of the pathway of connection is called the default mode network. And the default mode network is disrupted in a variety of mental illness, including schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, autism, Alzheimer's disease, epilepsy. So because of the lack of connection, these, the people who suffer from this disease are not able to see other people's point of view very well. And the result is a lack of empathy. They may do things that hurt others, but it would not be fair to say that they are evil. In order to qualify for evil, I believe that some kind of intention is warranted. So, the following mental illness appear to have an element of intentions with it. Borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and sociopathic personality disorder. These people seem to want to inflict hurt on others and create chaos. There is currently a lack of research in this group of people, and also a lack of clinicians who treat this group of people, first because they are resistant to treatment, and secondly, they can be a danger to the clinicians. So it brings us to the next point of, this is on a personal level. So on a global level, the product of evil behaviors destroys societies, nations, and even the planet. We have to pay attention to this problem. Whether or not we choose to call this word evil, we do have a problem to solve. And the problem need to be solved from the level of higher education, training of professionals. Department of Law need to be aware of underhanded practices amongst their practitioners and know what happens when morality goes out the window. School of Finance and Business need to teach fair practices and have effective ways to detect and combat corruption. School of Medicine must be aware of not only malpractice, but not being able to practice medicine to the Hippocratic oath that doctors enter medicine for. Education department requires preventative strategies to stop themselves further caving into the politicization of their discipline so that they can teach the way they want it to. What must we do? We must do research on this one question. Should we allow personality disordered people and or systems to control crucial institutions of society? A loaded question, you might argue, but we've got to start somewhere. So, is there an antidote to evil behaviors? The psychologist Scott Peck, in his book, People of the Lie, warned us that we cannot kill evil with evil. Doing away with evil, using the method of evil, does not work. An eye for an eye makes the whole world go blind. So let's look at the word antidote. Antidote is a medicine taken to counteract a specific poison. So corny as it may sound, love is behaving in the opposite direction to that of evil, which in my point of view is extreme self-centeredness. My conclusion is that evil will cease to exist when we do not allow it to happen. Instead of going along with it, we must study it, know its mechanism, set up checks and balances in society to prevent it and to cure it. Meanwhile, we do the opposite and reaches out to others in loving kindness. The cure of evil is the creation of a community that helps one another without need for praise or reward to oneself. It is to attend to things just because it needs to be attended to. Finally, please take care of yourself and be at peace. Thank you for listening.
Don't delay. Get your ticket for the next Sparks event today.